Uh, Hello students, today we are going to study hip bone. This is irregular type of bone and this is made up of three bones. Ilium, upper expanded part is ilium, anterior thin part, this is pubis, and this lower posterior part, this is ischium. Okay. So this ilium, this is Latin term for loin. This pubis, this is Latin term for genital area, and ischium, this is Latin term for hip. And these three bones, they meet with each other at the level of acetabulum, which is cup shaped cavity, and initially at the at the level of fusion of these three bones, there is presence of triradiate cartilage. Okay, and this cartilage later on fuse and forms the single hip bone. Then this pubic bone articulates with the opposite another hip bone, and this forms the pubic symphysis. Okay. Then side determination of the hip bone. This ilium forms the upper expanded form, so this decides upper and lower end. Acetabulum, this is directed laterally, this decides lateral and medial part, so we have to keep acetabulum laterally. And below acetabulum there is obturator foramen. In front, obturator foramen, it is bounded by the thin bone, which is pubic bone, and posteriorly it is bounded by the ischium, which is thick bone. So this is about its side determination. Then anatomical position. For anatomical position, this upper part of the pubic symphysis and this anterior superiliac spine, this is anterior superiliac spine, and this is pubic symphysis. So these we have to keep in same coronal plane. Then pelvic surface of the pubis, this is directed upward and backward, and symphysial surface of the pubic bone, this is in the median plane. So these are points to decide its anatomical position. So anterior superiliac spine and pubic symphysis, upper part of pubic symphysis, we have to keep in same one coronal plane. Pelvic surface of this pubic bone upward and backward, and symphysial surface in median plane. So this decides its anatomical position. Now we will see the description of parts of the ilium. Ilium, it is having upper end and lower end. Upper end is this is expanded and broad, and lower end it meets at the level of acetabulum with the ischium and the pubis. So this is upper end and this is lower end. Upper end is called as iliac crest. This is iliac crest. This iliac crest of the means this is iliac crest. This is concave medially in ventral 2/3 part, and in concave laterally in dorsal 1/3 part. Then anterior end of this iliac crest, this is called the anterior superiliac spine. Posterior end of this iliac crest, this is called as posterior superiliac spine. And this iliac crest is divided into ventral 2/3 part and dorsal 1/3 part. Then ventral 2/3 part of the iliac crest, it is having outer lip and inner lip and intermediate area, and dorsal 1/3 part of this iliac crest, it is having outer slope and inner slope and intermediate ridge. This is about description of the iliac crest. Then rest of the ilium, it is having three borders. This is anterior border, this is posteriorly, this is posterior border, this is medial border. Okay. Then these having surfaces This is iliac fossa. This is sacropelvic surface. This is called as sacropelvic surface, and this is laterally this is called as gluteal surface. Okay. So there are borders and surfaces to this rest of the ilium. Anterior border, it starts from anterior superiliac spine, runs downward and meets with the acetabulum. Then it is notched in the upper part, and in lower part it shows elevation. This is called as anterior inferior iliac spine. Then this is posterior border of the ilium, starts from posterior superiliac spine and meets with the posterior border of the ischium. This meets with the upper border of the ischium. Okay. Then this is medial border. This medial border, it meets with the iliopubic eminence at the junction, and this part forms the part of the arcuate line of the ilium. Arcuate line of the ilium. Okay. So this is medial border which separates iliac fossa and the sacropelvic surface. This medial border, it meets with the iliac crest. In upper part it meets with the iliac crest. Okay. So this is anterior border, this is medial border, and this is posterior border of the ilium. This is iliac fossa. Then this is sacropelvic surface. Sacropelvic surface, posterior means upper part of this sacropelvic surface. This is called as iliac tuberosity, and this shows elevation in the medial part. Okay. Intermediate part is articular. This is auricular shape, and this is articular, and this articulates with the sacrum to form the sacroiliac joint. Okay. So this is auricular surface, and anterior part of this sacropelvic surface, which is lies below the this iliac articular surface. This is called as pelvic, from the pelvic part of this sacropelvic surface. Okay. And this forms the part of the true pelvis. Part of the true pelvis. Okay. This is gluteal surface. This gluteal surface, it shows presence of three lines: posterior gluteal line, anterior gluteal line, and inferior gluteal line. Okay. Posterior gluteal line, it starts from the iliac crest roughly 5 cm in front of this posterior superiliac spine, and meets with the greater sciatic notch. This is greater sciatic notch. Okay. Upper part of this greater sciatic notch. This is anterior gluteal line. This roughly start 4 cm behind the anterior superiliac spine, runs downward and backward, and meet with the greater sciatic notch here. Inferior gluteal line, this starts from the upper part of anterior superiliac spine, runs posteriorly and meets with the apex of the greater sciatic notch. So this is inferior gluteal line. Okay. So this is posterior gluteal line, this is anterior gluteal line, and this is inferior gluteal line. Okay. So this is about the gluteal surface. Okay. So this is about description of the parts of this ilium. Then we will see the attachments to the ilium. Attachments. This iliac crest in its entire extent on outer part gives attachment to the fascia lata of the thigh. This is deep fascia of the thigh. Okay. Then deep to fascia lata of the thigh, it gives attachment to the external oblique muscle. External oblique muscle, insertion of the external oblique muscle. Okay. Then in between external oblique and fascia lata there is attachment of tensor fascia lata up to this tubercle of the ilium. Here there is attachment of tensor fascia lata. Then behind the external oblique there is gap. This is gap for the lumbar triangle, and behind this there is part of origin of the latissimus dorsi.